segment, we're talking about our bus mapping and how to map the panel. So when we look at the panel surface itself, we see that all these cross points will line up in an ME row, and they all have mnemonics for each row. Now, generally, we map the panel identically, so this row and this row and this row are the same. Now, some things that may be different is I may want to map them differently, so I only see the ME stores of ME2 on the top level, ME stores of ME1 on the top level, that sort of thing. So if I want a simplified workflow where I only see certain things on certain MEs, then of course we can go ahead and map it differently. But primarily, to do a basic bus map, we simply want to be able to assign sources to specific buttons. So what we can do is go into our bus map menu. Now it can be found in the setup menu under bus maps, or what we could have done was you'll see there's the quick tab right here up on the left hand side. Now one thing to note is when we have the bus map menu up, you'll notice we can't cut. When the bus map menu is on screen, you're going to notice that on the panel, when I select a button, it lights up. But also, more importantly, in that menu UI, it is following along. And when I select it in the menu UI, the panel is also following to show me the button that I am affecting. If I want to manipulate this but still be able to change sources, what I want to do is swap the menu to the top. So with that menu on top, now we can go ahead and we can cut our show, be cutting along, while not affecting the panel map any longer. So here we can see that we've got button 31 selected. So you'll notice here you've got multiple maps. So we're currently working with our main map, or I named it main. So I want to modify this button, and now we can scroll through all the available sources to find what we want to map to that cross point. So now that we've selected our source, we could hit home and confirm the change. So, are you sure you want to make this change? Absolutely. Now I want to jump back to that menu. So I'm going to jump back to that menu. Send it to the top. And what we know is that's assigned to 31. And when I look down on my panel, down here, so when we look at the panel surface, it is now mapped to that cross point. So it's very easy to map that. The other thing we can do is we can insert a cross point. So if I wanted to ripple these cross points down one, I can simply hit the insert and it will shift them to the right. And as soon as I confirm this change, right, my panel will now have that bus map modified. So when we go back to bus maps, we have now, on that main map, added that ability to shift away. And so we can see here on the panel, so if we go big on the panel, we can see that we have now shifted to the right. And you'll notice that the two shift buttons do not fall off, meaning they didn't get pushed. Shift buttons will always stay, and the map itself will ripple through. As we see here, it will ripple through our GUI. So if we bring up the GUI, make it full size, and we look at that map, you'll see that as it comes across, it will ripple things around. So let's go ahead and on this button, let's now delete that cross point. So by deleting, this will ripple, pull back the cross points. So we're going to confirm that change. And now what we can see is it pulled everything back up one to where it's supposed to be. Now if I wanted to clear this out and just get rid of it, but not delete that cross point and have these cross points slide to the left, then what I would have wanted to have done is I would have wanted to clear the cross point. So now I can see here in the menu system, swap it up so that we see it, and let's go ahead and go GUI. So now what we can see in the menu system is if we clear this, it didn't ripple that other cross point back in. So now when we confirm this change on the panel itself, we can see that that button is gone, can't be pushed, but it didn't pull these over another one. So essentially, when we're looking at this menu, insert is a ripple insert, so it'll push things to the right. Delete will ripple, pull them back in, and clear will clear them out of the way. If I just highlight one, I can of course just edit it, and that's why edit will be highlighted, meaning I can just scroll through and pick a different source to apply to that button. Selecting panel type is referencing the physical panel that you have. If you are working with a bus map that was built for a different panel, when you load that bus map onto this switcher, I'd want to come in and modify the bus map so it knows that it's an A4, in this case, a larger panel. And then that way, my bus map knows how wide, how many buttons I actually have. If I was to load this onto a smaller panel, I could change to a smaller panel and then that way go in and modify based on the fact that I would have, say, 24 buttons. On the second page, right, because remember, looking here, edit bus maps, 1, 2. On the second page, this is where we can rename the maps. So instead of main, maybe this is, call it demo 1. Confirm the change of that map. So now in the list, it shows demo 1. We can assign maps, we can copy maps, we can default a single map that's highlighted, or we can default all maps. So an example of a copy might be that I want to copy this, make some changes so that I can post it to a different ME with a few cross points changed. So simply highlight the map I want. So we're going to go into copy map. We're going to copy from slot 1 to slot 16. Copy map. So now it's been copied. Even the name was copied. So we'd want to make sure to come in and we're going to rename that map and we'll call it demo 2. So now in our bus map, we have demo 1, we have demo 2. Now this doesn't match current used panel. So what's that meaning is that these aren't actually on the panel right now. So if we want to assign a map now that we've edited them, we simply go to Assign Maps. Now there is a lot of different buses and elements that you can assign maps to. So for example, if I just wanted to assign to the whole panel, the exact same bus map. I simply highlight the panel I want, entire panel is highlighted, and I can perform that assign. So now the entire switcher has the exact same bus map. But what if I wanted an ME to have a different map than the rest of the switcher? So I could say that I want to, on all ME buses, have hockey map. So now only the ME buses would have that, all of them. Whereas if I want just on a single ME, like ME1, I would say all buses on ME1 will now get, say, this HKY or hockey map. So now what we have are two different maps on the panel at one time. So if we look at the panel itself, and we'll go full with it, make it a little bit easier to see. Up here on this bus map, we have a totally different bus map assignment than this ME. And it's easy to see from the mnemonic colors. Still 1, 2, 3, 4, yet still 1, 2, 3, 4 is over here. And we've got some different ME programs and things are in different places. So as you can see, you can map things very easily to different locations. So let's go ahead and say we want demo 1, entire panel, perform assign. Home, and now they're back to normal. The other use case for the bus maps having different panel maps is when you want to do things like source substitutions. If I want an ME to control another ME, follow along, but select different sources, then I'm going to want in my bus map to copy that map like we did before, and now I can go to those sources, and where camera 3 is taken here, I might have to take server 2 instead because it's doing a replacement for something that's not allowed. And then apply demo 2 onto ME3. And then in the auto-follow setup, which we'll cover auto-follows in another segment, which is our bus linking functionality, I would link these two MEs together. And so as I cut and do my show here, this would follow along and doing a source substitution and potentially language keyer substitutions as well. So in going back to our GUI, and let's bring the GUI full screen. So in our bus maps, we have also the ability in the assign map level to do aux buses with a different map assignment, because maybe there's items I don't want to be selected on an aux bus, so I can give them a different map, as well as you can do individual buses. The benefit of individual buses is if you split MEs, you can now come in and assign different maps to all of those MEs. You're also able to assign a different bus map to any of the aux buses. Finally, automation ports at the bottom are where we physically connected these external remote ports. So it is possible to connect different size aux panels and apply different bus maps to those just by simply taking a bus map, setting its crosspoint width by using that panel size, and then being able to define what each one of those are. So that's how you map your buses. That's how you apply buses to individual maps, buses to individual or groups of buses by a whole ME to a different map, as well as external panels to different maps. Now, bus maps will be stored when we look at storing into the disk or recalling from disk. You'll notice that bus maps have their own item. So you can recall and save bus maps separate from different file sets without having to store and recall an entire show file. All right, so that about covers it for bus maps. And we thank you for taking the time to have a look at this segment here at Acuity U. We look forward to the next segment coming soon. Thanks again. Have a great day.